I'm calling the Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board to order. Those in attendance are
Keith Anderson. Bill Fonseca.
Russell Denver.
Cassandra Cheraswolo.
Rob Wachilla, Director of Planning.
Forgot what he was.
So I think the very first thing I would like to do is to congratulate our planning director who recently got married.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club.
May it be a long and fruitful marriage.
Definitely will be. Thank you.
Say something?
Yes, you
I'd
can.
like to be welcomed our great-grandson on March 15th.
Oh, wow,
Congratulations.
great.
Awesome.
You have something to look forward to now.
Love it for you, Pete.
All right, first is approval of minutes of January 2026. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The first item, Cassie, do you want to act as clerk tonight?
Approval not required, ANR 2026-01, request to create 2 new parcels at 101 Smith Avenue, Assessor's parcel ID 4A2910-102, located in the Residency Zoning District, applicant Dawn Orbo, 69 Lenox Circle, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01228.
Okay. Anybody here for the petitioner?
No, Mr. Chair, but they asked me to speak on their behalf for them, if that's okay.
Okay,
So basically, they're just taking an existing lot and splitting it into 3 separate lots along Smith Avenue. So as you can see on the screen here, I know it's a little bit hard, but you have one box here, a box in the middle, and a box up top. So these 2 boxes on the ends each have a road that butts them. So this one up here is Saugus Avenue. This one down here is a road called Boyer Avenue, and then Smith is along the side here. Just from my initial review, all of them meet with the regulations for the zoning districts that they're located in terms of frontage and lot size. I don't anticipate or see any issues splitting the 3 properties as they are.
any questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to endorse the plan?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ooh, I was turning it off and I hit the emergency button. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so,
I make a motion to move case site 2026-02 to next in the agenda.
I'll second.
motion made in second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Would you please read the item?
Case site 2026-02, request for a site plan waiver to construct a 7,606-foot square addition to an existing manufacturing building with requested waivers at 302 Benton Drive, Assessor's parcel ID 10-9-2, located in the Industrial Garden Park Zoning District, applicant WF Young, Inc., 302 Benton Drive, East Long Meadow, Mass. 01228.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good time.
Okay. Yeah, before it starts.
Also have a rendering of the proposed addition that's on its way in, so.
So I'm gonna open the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Keep it in there.
What?
That's a later item. Mr. Chair, can I pass out the supplemental?
Certainly.
I believe I already gave this to the applicant. It's just a comment from our Public Works Department regarding stormwater.
Excellent.
So I'll hand that out right now.
I do also have a review size of this board.
Yeah, sure.
For,
This is for you, if you didn't get it.
Bridget.
There you go, thank you. So some plans for you guys, if you don't already have them. Just start passing those down, I guess, just take one pass down, and then same thing with this. Just take one, pass it down.
What's the rest?
Where do you?
I'm sorry, yeah, can you just move it?
Angle a little bit.
Fingers.
There we go, perfect.
What's the rest of the phrase? Take them down, pass it around. What's the rest? Drink it down, yeah.
All right. And you tell me, do I need to stay seated for the camera and or can I stand next to
You can
it?
certainly stand.
Excellent.
Yeah. So can you at least let us know who you are and who you're representing?
Absolutely. All right, for the record, my name is Kevin Grindle, project manager with Barton & Judas, the firm representing the applicant this evening, WF Young, with the site plan application for 302 Benton Drive, their facility that is currently at this address. So for you this evening is a 7,600 square foot building addition. To the plan left or the west, shown in an unfortunate color of pink from our plotter this evening, or this afternoon. But you see the building addition to the left and the existing building addition in more of a brown color, the existing building in the brown color in the center of the plan. So the existing building is a little over 13,000, it's 13,250 square feet. And what we're looking to do is put a 7,600 square foot building addition off the back of the existing the existing building. The primary use of that space is for additional office space and storage, warehousing space that goes along with their existing uses. Have experienced an excellent growth model here at their existing facility and really just responding accordingly, looking to put this addition on the back of the site. Obviously, on this plan, you see the existing building and the gray color is the existing parking areas. This grass area to the west, really the most logical location for building expansion, obviously with the front yards and side yard setbacks as shown accordingly. So what we're looking to do is ancillary to that building addition, obviously conversation as far as green space, drainage, traffic, and parking. Kind of the typical conversation that we would be having with planning boards on an application such as this. What we're looking to do would be utilize the existing parking as it stands, like I said, in this gray tone. You see on the top left on that northwest side of the site, 13 parking spaces that we're identifying as proposed parking spaces at this time. What we're looking to do is construct those parking spaces right now, and as I go through this application, this narrative, there are also areas here that were crosshatched in red that we're looking for a proposed waiver on, and that's a conversation that we'd like to have with this board this evening. What we're looking to do is respond to a flexible work environment that WF Young affords their employees. Right now, with their existing employees, 48 current employees, 36 of them on site, 12 of them currently and permanently remote. So on any given day, in the current configuration, there is 12.5 cars on site, and we've got 57 parking spaces currently. So kind of projecting that out with that calculus, we're looking at, in future to growing to 68 employees, 56 of those would be on site. And the configuration we're proposing right now is a build out for 70 parking spaces. So those 70 parking spaces, we feel, we're very comfortable with saying that is far beyond what we need to account for this growth model and to handle this additional 7,600 square foot of building. But recognizing what the parking requirements are for the town, we've identified what it would take to propose the total 86 parking spaces that would be required based upon the building square footage per your regulation. And we're showing those in that red crosshatch both on the west side and then an infill on the interior and infill adjacent to the main entrance, to say that if there was a time in the future that those would be necessary, we're blocking those off at this time, identifying those areas, but asking for that waiver at this present time, so we did not have to construct those, as we have more than enough parking to satisfy the employees that we currently have and will be having as far as, once this building addition has been constructed. So along with that waiver, kind of running hand in hand, subsequent to that is also a waiver on the traffic report requirement for the regulations. Obviously, very low trip generation as it currently stands, and with that projected growth model, again, very low trip generation based upon this use in this building. So we would be looking at that waiver as well, being noted as far as the existing and proposed employee count is far below what we would anticipate requiring a traffic report. And we're confident that the Benton Drive roadways and adjacent roadways are not going to be, negatively impacted by, adding this building addition and adding this staff to the neighborhood. So with that, pivoting from the building and the parking, the next item of conversation would be drainage. Obviously, there is an increase in impervious area based upon the 7,600 square feet of building and roughly 2,400 square feet of additional parking with this new parking up in those 13 new spaces up at that top left. So you'll see in this plan, bottom left, so southwest and northwest, there are small detention basins being shown. Those basins are similar to what you would see along the frontage of WF Young's existing facility, and also similar to the configuration of the basins that when I was last in front of this commission, we were looking at the facility just north of us, the new CHD facility here. We utilize a similar detention basin configuration on this site to the north as well, taking advantage of nothing less than fantastic soils. These soils are draining, 4 feet an hour, well beyond, I'll say, most soils I'll see on a daily basis. So taking advantage of very good sands and gravels, fairly deep groundwater, what we're looking to do is construct a basin on the southwest side that would handle all of the roof water, both for attenuation of a 100-year storm, retention of that storm, as well as infiltration of that 100-year storm. And not very often can I say that we're in a position to be infiltrating a 100-year storm. Typically, we're retaining it and sending it off-site. So this basin on the southwest handles and infiltrates and attenuates the 100-year coming off the building. And then this increase in parking area is handled by a much smaller detention basin, runoff basin, coming off that parking area along the property line, and that would be directed then back into swales and then directed back into the existing drainage pattern within the site. That's running along the existing basin and then being infiltrated through yard drains and a larger detention basin in the front. The expectation is that there's no water leaving this site, no water discharging off this site for a 100-year storm. Everything is infiltrating. So keeping, again, that separate so that roof water is to the southwest and the minor parking lot water is within this basin that goes into the larger treatment train that's already existing on site. So you also see on this back, again, southwest corner, the large lawn area that's existing on site. Off the back of the existing building, there is a wooden pavilion structure, a small outdoor gathering area that will be within the footprint of this proposed building. What we're looking to do is effectively shift that west, construct a similar pavilion structure off the back of the building, again, taking advantage of a lawn area and privacy off of Benton Drive so that employees and visitors can take advantage of that lawn area and then some outdoor opportunities within that pavilion structure outside their main office complex. So again, a couple other minor items of, I'll say kind of checklist through the regulations. Recognizing the wooded buffer to the west is existing. We're not looking to propose it. There is no substantive clearing as part of this application. Again, coming right off the back of the building, taking lawn area, but no tree clearing. We are proposing minor vegetation along the detention basin, continuing the theme of evergreen species along that southern border, continuing that up along the detention basin, provide some screening opportunities from the basin, and again, just aesthetic appeal based upon the building configuration. The parking is, as our narrative did indicate, there is an additional handicap space coming into the back of the building that we're proposing to access a new sidewalk and pathway network to what will be a new entrance on the backside of the addition. But aside from that, pedestrian traffic, pedestrian flow on the site does not change. Effectively just moving a sidewalk back as well as to provide egress coming and going out of the building addition. So with that, I will keep myself brief here. team from Associated Builders, team from WF Young, and team from Architectural EL is with me this evening. So with any hard-hitting questions, I can pivot back to the experts that will have the answers for you. But I hope I've gone through the narrative and submission and town requirements well for you. And again, here with any questions. So thank you all very much.
Of course, thank you for complimenting us, thinking that we ask hard-hitting questions. Questions before I ask anyone else if they wish to address us?
Well, you know how I feel about waivers of parking area.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. All right, anyone, this is a public hearing. Anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? I'll ask one more time. Is anyone? Yes, sir?
Ralph Page, 137 Pease Road, former planning board chairman, currently town council member. Just a couple things that is hard to see from the picture, dumpster for trash removal. Whereabouts is it located and is it fenced in?
The existing dumpster is in the southwest corner of the site. It is fenced in and it will not be moved or altered based upon this application.
Are you thinking that it's sufficient to handle with the increased size of the building?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It only handles typical office wastes. There is no expectation that it would need to be increased at this time.
So just for full disclosure, I'm very familiar with the property. We used to maintain the condominium office condos right next door. I think the addition and all will work perfectly there. I do like the thought, and I believe Marilyn could correct me. I think when they originally came in years ago, they asked for the same type of deal with the parking, that they weren't going to need all the spaces, so they left it as grass, but it's dedicated in case in the future they have to. And I think that's the big thing here, is that they have the space for it. And if you leave it as green space, it's probably better than putting asphalt that's never used. So I would definitely be all for that. I think the layout and all looks great. Thank you. Do you want, yeah, I better sign in.
So I put that in your packet as a possible condition to consider. And just when we get to that part, Russell, all the conditions for the permit are now in here. More transparent, makes more sense to go through all of them. But yeah, I have a proposed condition the board should consider is conditioning the parking situation. So if there were reserved spots, if the board want to go down that route, it's wise to make that condition of the permit, just in case. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, back to discussion. So I am thrilled that WF Young wishes to expand here in East Long Meadow, where they've been here for many years. They have a beautiful building. It's always immaculately maintained. I think they're a wonderful corporate citizen. And I think whenever we can help, this process along so that it can continue to expand, add employment to a specific spot here in East Long Meadow that's designated for that, I think it's a home run. So, but
I agree. I mean, I understand Pete's hesitancy and I understand it, but and to Ralph's point, it's dedicated. It's there if they need it in the future. So, I mean, I'm glad that it's included in this with clear explanation.
Yep.
The thing that makes me kind of go soft on this is that it's green space.
Yeah.
It's less permeable tar, so.
Right.
So you're
It's just an awful lot of
softening
spaces.
up though?
It's just so.
Melting is
I
close.
mean, we gotta think of the
Sunshine did
future.
it to me. It's just that in the past, for restaurants and all that, we have not done this type of thing.
No.
This is the second time
Yeah.
this year that we've done it,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't.
So I don't know if we'll do it for the next item before us.
Right.
But the fact that it's in an industrial zone, it's really a standalone building that's really not, very close to other specific buildings in place, and that we're kind of dedicating that space for future use. I feel good about that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if this were right around the Rotary, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
but
Or if it
this,
was a restaurant or something like
yeah,
that.
but this
Yeah.
is completely different,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Okay.
All right, so Rob, walk me through the,
Yeah, sure. So if you go to the back, so page 5 of your permit application reports, there's a action item list under section 8.
all right,
You just have to go through each of those items. You can either do the waivers in block or individually. Choice.
then someone make and with respect to the traffic study, I agree.
I agree
It's-
too.
It's a business use, it's not gonna add, you're not bringing in tractor trailers to the site, you're not burdening that whole intersection right there. So I'm comfortable with that. So can I get a motion to approve the requested waivers for the parking and for the traffic study?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So the next would be for the approval of the standard site plan review items.
Russ?
How's that?
Russ,
Yes,
should we bring up the comments from Mark Berman?
yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Yep.
Yep, so you basically have to go through the findings that are taken out of Article 9,
Item 6,
item 6.
page 4.
Sorry, it's item
5.
Item 5, so item 6 is your conditions, but usually the board would just review them and vote in block, but if you want to go through each one, that's your choice.
So there are a number of findings with respect to section 450-9.7. I've reviewed these, hopefully others have as well.
Yeah.
So can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So a condition that was brought forward by Mr. Berman from Department of Public Works says site grading, drainage, and utilities, specifically stormwater BMP plan, shown on sheet number 2 of 5, is for 286 and not 302 Benton Drive. Please correct and resubmit. It says area of disturbance is less than 1 acre. The local stormwater permit is not required for this proposed project with an area of disturbance of 27,300 square feet. Do I have a motion to accept this?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So this will be a condition that will have to be added.
It also said no comments on highway.
Yeah.
Highway, yeah. So then I think we're here just to approval of the site plan with the conditions and the waivers.
Did you approve the conditions? Sorry, did I miss that part?
We did,
Did you agree to add the condition regarding the parking situation?
we did,
Okay.
yeah. So a motion to approve the site plan waiver with conditions and waivers.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll reach out to the applicant, the person who's in charge of the OpenGov tomorrow. Yep. About the steps.
Excellent. Appreciate it, Rob.
Next item, please.
Case site 2026-01, request for an amendment to the site plan review of site 2025-06 to construct a roughly 5,000 square foot commercial/office building at 95 Shaker Road, assessor's parcel ID 28-2-0, located in the industrial zoning district. Applicant Stephen L. Graham, trustee of 21 Shillingford Realty Trust, 35 Industrial Drive, Suite 1, East Long Meadow, Mass. Oh, no, wait.
Evening.
Making changes already?
Take one past.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
all right.
Graham. The original plan called for a two-story building containing office space on the first and second floor. And the building location was in the center of the lot, essentially. Changes now are, we're adding a third story, and we're moving the building to the south end of the lot, which would be the farthest away from the Chapter Lane Kitchens building.
So what is in that, what is that building now?
Chapter Lane Kitchens building?
Well, you said you're moving it or removing it?
We're construct it
Oh, yeah, okay, so the new building is just further back, set back in the property.
further to the south.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
further to the south.
yep,
The reason for doing that is, there are a couple things that changed. One is the groundwater storm catch basins now have all been put underground. The primary reason for doing that is we've increased the parking substantially from, I think it was 53 spaces originally. We're now up to 72 spaces. And moving it to the south puts the parking, rather than on each side of the building, parking is now to the north of the building between the Chapter Lane Kitchens building and the new building proposed.
okay.
We have third more parking, and we've got the stormwater buried, which should make it a nicer lot, and should be nicer to look at. And we have the third story. Third story, as the zoning requires now, is commercial. If there's a mixed-use bylaw that comes into place, then we have plans to turn it into 4 to 6 condominiums, in which case the parking requirement would drop substantially. Parking requirement for the commercial space is 75 spaces. If it's 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet, I think the zoning requires either 4.5 or 5. So we're 4.5, we're above it. If it's 5, we're slightly below it. And we've also moved, we've got a nice spot for the dumpsters in the back of the building now that's in the south. And I just think it's a very, very much improved for the whole project. Parking will be divided in half with some plantings in between, and there'll be one-way traffic in and out to Shaker.
Anything else?
That's it.
Rob, do you want to just kind of let the public know kind of what was first and now what is here, what planning concerns you might have?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So for folks in the audience, I have the plans up there on the screen. So the existing, or the proposed building is going to be on the left there. And then you have 2 rows of parking. So before the building was in the middle and parking was kind of surrounding it, the applicant at the time had a 2-story building with, it was around 50 spaces, like you said. And then now they're proposing to shift the building to its current position on these plans and then add more parking, getting up closer to where it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be at 75. If all the uses in the building, including the first floor proposed cafe restaurant, is going to be there is 75. They're proposing 72. And if he does residential on that top floor, it does bring the spaces down, but you can't really rely on that because that number might be different. So long story short, is that he's 3 spaces short. But I'm sure there's reasons for that, which you could explain if the board brought that up as a concern. And the only concern I have, Mr. Chair, is that aside from everything looking good on the site plan, I just have concerns about the flow of traffic within the parking lot area. It looks like, according to the plans, there's 2 ways going each way in and out on these two entrances here along Shaker Road. I even inserted this as a proposed condition to the permit. I think the site should be one-way flow of traffic, clearly marked signs. Just a recommendation to the board for safety reasons. Those two curb cuts right there are pretty close to each other. And I can anticipate during rush hour traffic that causing significant delays if folks were turning in opposite directions. One-way traffic on this site would ensure smoother inflow and outflow. It would probably make it easier for folks on Shaker Road making a left turn to not impact traffic, because there's one spot where they're making a left versus two separate spots. And then having two spots where people go either way could really complicate that.
Steve, did you say it's gonna be one way?
Yes,
I thought so.
yes, the drawing depicts it otherwise, but we'll make it one way,
The building across the street's the same way.
yes.
And I think the condition that I'm suggesting to the board, if you would consider it, is to include signage and to make sure the signage is installed so people don't confuse where to go.
Right.
So that's pretty much it. Everything else seems pretty straightforward to me, Mr. Chair. And this is an amendment hearing, so the applicant wasn't required to submit every single item up front, just items that are relevant to the amendment. Thank you.
Okay, so you kind of set it up, so let's talk about the proposed parking waiver. So essentially, I agree with Rob, we shouldn't take potential future residential uses in that area into consideration. Because, as we'll talk later in our meeting, we're just gonna start the process here at the planning board, because there were materials referred to us by the town council this past week or the week before on a draft bylaw for the town center. But essentially, I think I met with Rob last week, and we'd like to lay out a timeline, how we go about actually determining what we want it to look like, what the boundaries look like, what type of housing that would be allowed, the densities, the setbacks, the whole bit. And when we get to that, you'll hear more of our conversation. So essentially, the waiver for the parking would be for 3. Okay. Mr. Punderson.
I can live with that. I think it's a great looking plan.
Thank you.
It is essential that people recognize that where the in and out is. The building across the street is kind of like a surprise when you try to pull in. So I'd like to see signs that say, one way, do not enter, instead of just a line painted on the pavement. So that it's not a,
Building is,
it's the,
The office building.
Yeah.
Your
one I
office
sit in
building.
once in a while.
Irina's is there, and the hair.
Oh, that's the next, no, that's next door.
The one up.
Yours is,
Yeah,
Ours is one way in.
Yeah, yours is one way in,
Yeah.
and one way
But
out.
it's kind of a surprise that the signage isn't really good.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
do not enter is like, kind of like not really,
You really can't see it.
no, you can't.
You can't really
I was
see
just
it.
there yesterday, and I went, oh, wait a second.
Kind of like Rockies.
Oh, yeah, something like that. Where people don't obey that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I think this plan is way better than the other plan. This is a real substantial plan. And the 3 spaces, to me, doesn't bother me.
okay.
The other, what was the request last time? 16 or 10 or, what were you asking that last time? It was a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just not fair to other applicants that we hold, their heels to the fire, so to speak, and say, you've got to have 10, you got to have 12. But a few spaces, it's not it's different than a full restaurant. Where, you park in the neighbor's place or down the street or, things like that, so. And the dumpster plan is much better.
Also, Mr. Chair, I forgot to put as an action item to approve that waiver for the parking, so that's my mistake. Just you'll have to remember to do that. I did that part.
You just got married, it'd be the first of many.
Kidding.
What bothered me last time, Steve, what bothered me last time was that you
Only
owned
kidding.
property that you could have put the spaces on. And like I said, it was a lot to swallow. I was definitely against it.
I understand.
Okay.
I like this plan a lot better, too.
Well, it looks great.
Yeah,
It looks like a real, complex. 3 stories is gonna be a big building, but that's what's allowed, that's what is allowed, so.
And so, if I read the narrative correctly, so it appears you're gonna have the deli on the first floor. The bank that was gonna be on the first floor is now going to be on the second floor?
Correct.
Are they gonna have a retail operation?
Well, the bank has downsized their space requirement substantially from 5,000 square feet to about 1,300 square feet.
Wow.
And they are a commercial bank only,
Okay.
so there's no, no.
lot of traffic.
no Traffic.
Not a lot
Okay.
of traffic.
And, yeah,
Okay.
and Frigo's, as I mentioned, is going in on the first floor, and their parking requirement is a function of how many seats they have inside and outside, and so I've given you the worst case, plus their employee count. I think we'll, when all is said and done, we'll probably be under that requirement once they finalize their seat count.
This is definitely an improvement now.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Great. It is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to come forward to be heard on this matter, please step forward. I'll ask again.
Come on, Ralph.
Come on, Mr. Page.
I love coming in here.
Who?
Again, Ralph Page, 137 Pease Road, same as before. If this is going to be a one-way in, basically a circular path, my only suggestion, and I suggest this on every single one that comes in front of the planning board or anywhere, is to angle the parking spaces so that it encourages people when they're in to back up and go the correct direction. If you make all the spaces at 90 degrees, they go the wrong way, they know they came in there, and you have that. Now, the nice thing, it looks like the plan was designed for a two-way, and I believe if you do one-way, the requirements are a little bit narrower. I may be wrong, but it would only make sense if traffic's only going one way, that you don't need the 24 feet or whatever it is in the middle. But other than that, I think the plan looks great. I think the fact that he's increased the parking spaces, brought it up to almost exactly what we need. And again, you're not going to know for sure until the business actually goes in. And those could change a little bit. Everything else looked great to me. Thank you. Good luck.
Obviously, been to Cabela's down in Hartford.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else like to be heard on this matter, please come forward. Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, back to the main matter. So why don't we just quickly address the concerns of Mr. Berman from the Department of Public Works. It says the install backflow valve on private property shown on WGC-6 Rev A. Replace CBID 3140 with slotted top frame and grate Shaker Road with Mass DOT 2x2 with 2-inch square frames and grate. Rebuild block structure at CBID 3140. Area of disturbance is 1 acre or greater, requires local stormwater permit to be submitted to DPW. Seal any cold joint seams with crack seal pavement tie-ins on Shaker Road. So we always usually add these as conditions. So do we have a motion to require these as a condition?
So moved.
A second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So on the waiver for the parking requirement, do I have a motion
So moved.
to approve the waiver?
So
So
moved.
moved, do I have a second?
Second, yep.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? You're looking perplexed, Rob?
That's fine, I'm just, it's a face I make when I'm listening, sorry.
Okay. No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that passes. We need to approve the findings made for the site plan review standards that are listed in
They're upside down.
starting at, well, upside down, but
That's okay.
I apologize for the formatting. I guess this
Don't worry about it.
It wasn't
Don't worry about it.
printed correctly.
We got it.
so what page are we starting on?
Page 2.
Yeah.
Flip it.
Did you get this? It's in there.
Oh, yes, it's item 5, all the
That's the
findings
front.
required for site plan review. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then the conditions on the permit, besides the one from DPW and the waiver, and I'd like to add, I think Mr. Page actually makes sense on the angled parking.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. But,
Trying to see where it says that in our bylaws. I know it says 90 degrees encouraged, but there's other areas that talk about 60 and 45 degrees. But I'm not seeing where specifically it requires that for one-way drives.
yeah, just the psychology of it, though, it does, it leads you
It
into
points you in
that,
a-
in that direction.
When you're trying to back up out of a square space, a 90-degree space, it's a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the current Frigo's lot now is angled.
Is angled.
And so it encourages you to go around the building because it's one way in, one way out. So we're just gonna continue that, which I'm in favor of, by the way, as long as there's proper signage,
Hang on a sec.
okay? So,
So that, and let's talk about the signage, and so can you read it to the record, the language you wanted on the signage?
Yeah, so it's one condition about the flow of traffic on the whole site. So obviously this is included within the other conditions.
Okay,
So the one that's highlighted is the condition that I'm proposing that's outside the normal standard conditions. So the condition reads, the flow of traffic on the site shall be one way in order to help mitigate traffic congestion on Shaker Road. Each curb cut entrance / exit on Shaker Road shall be one way only. Appropriate signage shall be installed to facilitate the safe one-way vehicular circulation on site. And I feel like if the board wanted to include having the angled parking.
right,
yeah.
yeah,
You want to put that in the.
yeah, put that there.
Rob, also, if you look at the diagram, the end cap for the parking spaces, since the spaces will be, angled, should that, something be done right here? Right here, because if you have an angle, it's gonna create, an odd shaped parking space. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, and it's really up to the board, because if you're making them reorient the parking lot, so if the parking spaces are gonna be angled, that's gonna require them to adjust some of those islands there.
See what I'm
The
saying,
whole thing
Steve?
is reconfigured.
Exactly, so you might wanna see that update, so that's
Yeah.
gonna require probably another.
I'm talking about these, Steve,
After the fact.
right here.
But the whole
It's gonna
thing's
be
gonna have to-
angled.
the whole- I think the whole
Gonna
thing's
have to
gonna
just
have
change that radius a little bit. Because otherwise you have a space that goes like this,
right, clear out space.
It's actually a waste of space for you.
You have two options here. You could either condition that they make the change after the approval or where the board decides, or you could have them come back at a future meeting to review it with the board. I mean, it's whatever you want to do, but there is gonna have to, if you're doing the angled parking spaces, they are gonna have to reconfigure some stuff on the site a little bit.
I'd like to see that.
What do you think to see it?
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
so we can do an initial approval tonight dependent upon a revised parking plan.
Showing the spaces, showing the angle.
Yeah, showing the angled spaces.
That's if the board's okay with me reviewing on your behalf afterwards, because if you approve it tonight, that means you close the hearing.
That's okay.
So if the board wants to review it instead, that's your choice.
I'm good.
Okay, so I think that should be a separate condition. Where at the end we insert that the parking has to be angled as such. I don't know if you want to do the 45 or the 60. It seems like the 60 might be more practical.
45.
Yeah, 60 is a lot.
So you think the 45?
45, I think 45 will work.
Okay, so 45 degree, they'll have to amend the site plans and then present that to me afterwards for me to say, okay, you can.
I'm good.
Okay,
I think that by changing the end caps of the parking, it's gonna be better for him.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so I think, so the condition that I read to you,
Was included in the conditions that we
Okay, so I think, just as a suggestion to the board, we should incorporate the parking angle as a separate condition.
Separate,
Okay,
separate motion.
all right, who's gonna make that motion? Pete?
So moved.
No, you have to put something on
Gotta
record.
put something
okay?
on the record.
I move that we change the parking spaces to angle 45-degree angle spaces, and we require a visual of that and showing the end caps being changed to 45 degrees also.
To be approved by the planning director.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And now on the overall site plan approval, as amended. Motion to accept or to
moved.
approve?
With all the conditions.
With all the
All
conditions.
yep.
So moved.
Yep.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All set? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Okay. Next on our agenda, so new business. So I think everybody received a copy of an email from Connor O'Shea.
Yes.
So that was an initial draft ordinance on the center district. They essentially have sent it back to the planning board to kind of,
Give us the draft say on it.
well, to actually have us draft
draft it.
draft it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if one of the two town councilors or both want to come forward, but they've had a number of, the town council has had a number of discussions and a number of presentations, even beyond the one that we met with the town council on. They, from my observation from watching the meetings, they were unable to come to a definitive conclusion on what the bylaw should look like. So they've referred can I call it a draft bylaw, to the planning board for further action. Did I get that correct?
Close. So Jim,
Leiden.
council, yes, had looked at, the different plans that came in front of us. And the thought is the council just kept saying, no, we don't like it, no, we don't like it, no, we don't like it, without ever putting into words what we felt the council could get behind. And so Jim took it upon himself to start listing things that he thought we should see in the center that, as a council, we could get behind. And we didn't craft per se a bylaw, we crafted an outline of things that we think we can get behind. And to give it to the planning board, so the planning board can look at it and say, okay, now we understand the path that they want to go in. We like this, we like that, and craft a actual zoning bylaw for it.
Just with full transparency, I was up in Portland, Maine on work when he called me on this and asked if I would review his draft. He sent it to me and I gave him my thoughts on it, but my thoughts pretty much mirrored all of our kind of discussions on the issue. So I then met with Rob on Thursday of last week, and I had some thoughts that I'd love to get from all of you. So, this has been out there now for 2 years. At least full 2 years. And that we really kind of need to lay out a timeline on developing a bylaw that would incorporate the thoughts from the town council, but also from our thoughts and from guidance from our planner. And to do that, and taking into some considerations what some town councilors have mentioned. So like Ralph specifically said, we should have a meeting with some developers and see what they would think that they could actually put up in the town center. What would sell, how do they make money if they were to develop any type of housing, and what type of housing? I suggested to Rob that he undertake a little research project to find 4 or 5 similar communities to East Long Meadow, like probably within a 50-mile radius, and say, have there been some town centers that have succeeded in reinventing itself or reinvigorating itself, that has the walkability that everybody talks about, the small shops that people might want to visit? Was there any housing part of all of this? What type of housing was all part of this? And just to let us know so that we might personally visit and, and we might invite, I don't know, an official from that town who some of the redevelopment, or maybe even the developer who put up the housing and why did they choose that type of housing versus something else? But always considering this is an East Long Meadow project. We don't have to go and say they were successful, so we're going to take everything they did. No, we don't need to do that. We have to make it ours,
East Long Meadow project that has a rotary,
Yeah.
correct?
and it has playing fields in the middle of town,
Yep,
and it has,
that's why it's
Detention
East Long
basins,
Meadow.
That's why it's East Long Meadow.
Yep.
and it's a fairly small piece of property.
Well, that's the other thing, and also that I want to discuss what we think the boundary should be for, this is essentially almost an overlay, and you're putting it over a certain parcel. I mean, I think from what I heard from everybody is they believe that we should not have industrial uses going forward. Boundaries that
Completely
we.
agree.
We agree. So, just my initial thoughts, I was thinking go down to Tomorrow Carpet, and then you've got a couple of auto repair places that if they ever went out of business, those are perfect small machine shop, operations. But to me, it kind of felt like Tomorrow Carpet, and then across the street is Shaker Bowl, and then the next building down. No, Fazio
nail
is coming the other way.
Coming,
Yeah, it's
Nail salon
retail.
and
Yeah,
retail
yeah, that's-
salon.
And then you have houses.
Right.
So, that's just, but this is stuff I don't want to talk about tonight, but I want to talk about, do you like the idea of setting a timeline to say, we need to try to have this done by a certain date, much like we did on 330 Chestnut Street? 3 months, we will be done, and we all worked to get to that point.
6
The
months,
short answer is yes.
Okay,
6 months.
I was thinking.
I was 6 months.
Is that too much time? Council is little time?
Nobody, they can't answer.
So we're 2 years in, so
Right,
6
right.
months.
What's 6 more months?
It's worth the time.
Yeah, it is.
It's worth the time,
We've got to get it right.
right?
Let's do our due diligence and get it right.
And I think what happened was, initially, if I may speak, the council focused more on looking at the zoning. We were mostly concerned about the industrial zoning and trying to perhaps create some different uses within the town center that would be compatible, but not necessarily a thrust for a lot of housing. And then somehow we ended up going down that path, and it became very clear that we were trying to put all our apples in one basket, and it just, within the area that we were working on, and it just didn't seem like it would fly. With no impact studies, we didn't even know that 15 to 20 units per acre would work. And so, but we wanted to do something, so that's why you have a document before you. We realize it was done by basically 3 of us, but the council approved it. And so we'd like to see something come out of it.
And I guess the other thing we could, after we all do this research and really kind of look at things, if there is not the property available to actually put up appropriate housing, whatever we define as appropriate to be allowed in the zone, do we then say, okay, let's forget that? And what other uses would enhance the viability of the Rotary?
Well, I think we need to look at everything, all the options.
Yeah. I once thought of business condos where you can have a residential, unit within that business condo. So it's a live-work kind of concept. They're close to the little shops. They don't add a lot of traffic.
That's my point, the
Yeah.
traffic. The
Well, yeah.
insertion of another 200 or 300 cars at the center of East Long Meadow every day. You look at school dismissal time, it's not good. or just a busy day trying to get around the road. I mean, we get around it because we live here, but, people that are coming in
Yeah,
could be a definite problem.
all right. 6 months?
6 months.
6 months.
What else would you like our planning director to look at?
I mean, examples, yeah, I agree with that. Something that was, the more the merrier. I mean, you can sit here and plow through them and see, pick and choose. I mean, we'll get,
If we go way back, there was a discussion to allow residential uses on not the first floor, but multiple floors above. It's very common in cities, very common in European communities. I've seen that in some communities across New England. That was an interesting concept, and somehow that just kind of found its way into the circular basket, but, we can look at, see
we
if
can
that's
look at,
viable.
yeah.
I would also like to see owner occupied.
Yep.
Rather than just rentals.
Encourage owner occupied. Or encourage owner occupied. Yeah.
All right. So for Rob, what else you want to add? Did I pretty much say what our meeting was on Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. And I think a lot of it's doing research and seeing what other communities have done. Then you also had discussed holding some engagement meetings,
With developers, potential
developers,
developers.
during one of the planning board meetings coming up. And then the first meeting, where we're actually gonna take a deeper dive, I guess was agreed, Russell, to be the next meeting of the planning board on the 21st
Yep.
of April. And you also had discussed taking the draft framework given by the council and formatting it into a way that would insert itself into the bylaw.
To the bylaw.
But that's pretty much it. And I think, make that the living document and then kind of use that to work on over time during this process.
I was encouraged to hear Steve Graham say for his third floor condos.
Yeah.
So that was,
He's looking ahead too.
Yeah.
He knows this is out there.
Well, multifamily is also a pretty broad term, so it includes rentals, ownership.
It does.
units. It really depends on the space available for them.
Yeah.
That's kind of what determines the type of unit you're gonna have. So I think, there's definitely a lot of things that could be studied here. I think there's a lot of things that should be considered because it's such a big, impactful district. So having those conversations while we're developing this would probably be the best move for the board. And don't do any public hearings until the very end. When you
Oh, no.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
because, yeah, we'll get jammed up with that.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's good direction and good encouragement from the board, so that'll prompt me to start doing my own work and stuff.
So you kind of like the process?
Yeah, I just don't know what we can say and not say to show prejudice or bias in certain cases, so.
Hold the powder,
Yeah,
yeah,
just, let's see.
until we gather more information and facts and stuff like that.
We're still at the infancy of this
But
again.
I have always said, I want to do what's right for the entire town,
I agree with that.
That's right.
I agree with that.
That's right.
not for one individual or one
Yep.
group.
Entity.
It's for the entire, what's in the best fit for the entire town.
Also, I do want to say one last thing too. I think,
Yeah.
we also have to keep in mind current economic situations,
Yep.
current climates for development,
Oh, yeah.
housing needs, business needs, just everything in general, to each other. And in order to make districts that are mixed use work, you have to understand the economies and what developers can make work from a financial standpoint. And I think that's why having that conversation with developers is going to be so important to ensure this district is a success, or it's a district that might be hard to build anything in. So I guess over the next 6 months, which I'm gonna have a big timeline on my office wall now in October this year. I guess having a clear goal in mind would be a good idea. So just think about some things you think would be beneficial for the center outside of this meeting versus things that you think are gonna be detriment. I've already heard some of them come out during this conversation. I think our meeting on the 21st, Russell, from what it sounds like, a lot of it's gonna be focused on this when I create that reformatted version of the framework. So you guys have a copy to look at and start taking your notes on and stuff.
So also, it would be great if you could, a week before the meeting, send us a list of topics that you would like to address to keep it moving along, so that we get those list of items and we can start thinking about it and be prepared and not just come that night and say, oh, okay.
Open a document and say, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that works.
We definitely do that.
All right, I know we have another item, Happy Acres.
If I may, if at any time, just reach out, I'm sure we could set something up with the council, and like I said, if you want us to brainstorm amongst all of us, we can do that too, so.
I do think when I was watching the meeting, one of those meetings, Paige came up with a very interesting concept. So you had, I think, kind of like was it accessory dwelling village?
Oh,
Any house?
cluster housing,
Cluster housing.
right, right.
There actually is. Long time ago, when I, even more interested in zoning than I do now. Sunderland is one of the first places in the state that did 2 cluster housing developments.
Yeah.
And cluster housing is, you put the houses very close together, and then you've got gigantic land all around it. And
Hudson Village.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coffin Village.
exactly.
Yeah.
How about that?
I've been there a couple of times.
Have you really? Yeah, very cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my friend lived there for a long time.
very cool.
So with that, I think the thought process was to limit the size of those houses that are clustered together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously.
And that way there, it becomes more affordable. And like I said, I know part of the thought process is how do we make some of our housing more affordable? Solution may not be stuff everything in the middle of the town. It may be, hey, have some of these outlying areas where we have beginner houses, and we can encourage those to go in order to keep our center. And again, it may be a combination of both or whatever, and that's why I'm saying I think we should have everything on the table, everything open, and think broad for the whole town. And I think the amazing thing here is we can come up with the absolute best plan, but we don't own all the property in the center.
Yeah.
So we can create the ability to do it, but if the owners choose not to do it, whether it's finances or whatever, it just
That's right.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Do you have in your mind owner occupied?
I like owner occupied. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know if you can do that.
Legally
I don't think we
enforce
can.
that.
Fortunately not, it's a.
Yeah,
We can encourage it, but I don't think we can.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, we can't
That's why I
afford
made
it.
that statement before.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's also some big, just to give you some homework to look into before the next meeting, in terms of like national trends, especially in New England. From what I've seen and from folks I've talked to across my 6 years in the profession, just from many developers I've met, it seems the shift and the push is less away from low density development to higher density residential. Commercial is not as prominent as it once was. There's some really big societal trends and truths you have to keep in mind when creating a bylaw like this.
Yeah.
Because if you have those trends and truths that were true 20 years ago, back when commercial development was way more successful, then it's not gonna work. I'm just gonna be very blunt with you guys. I think you have to look at trends that are beneficial to this bylaw and to the town, or else the bylaw is just not gonna work with developers.
That's why I want to meet with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good instinct on your part too. That's good instinct on your part too.
Once in a while, a blind chestnut or a blind squirrel can find a chestnut.
You're right,
Let's go.
you're right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want us, you can stay and listen to our discussion on Happy Acres. Okay. All right, Rob, the floor is yours.
All right, and I'll show some,
Yeah, Rob?
yeah.
Do you have a definitive, a picture of the downtown and the area marked off?
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
I can provide it in the meeting packet for the next meeting, or do you want it earlier than that?
I'd like it earlier than that.
Well, if you
I'll
get it
stop
to
in
us
and grab
a
one.
week before with everything else.
So the initial one that came out of the Center Town District Committee, you know, it was essentially the Rotary, but it went all the way down Shaker to Chestnut, I think was the one we're probably looking at.
Yeah, yeah.
It included like the Rotary area, the business and properties around it, including the center square. And I think it went down the Shaker all the way to Chestnut, like you
Right.
mentioned.
Right.
And I think because most of that district is industrial, zone industrial, even though almost none of those properties are industrial properties.
Right.
But yeah, I can include that when I send you your weekly email reminder about the stuff to think about, including the district boundaries.
When you go down Shaker Road and you get past Danny Burek's building by the pizza shop, and it's all spate buildings,
Yeah.
there's no room behind them, is there?
Not really.
I don't think so.
Some.
So why,
There's not much.
not much, not buildable.
No.
The railroad used to go through there.
So
You've
So why
got
would
where-
that be included?
You got where Contest used to be. What street is that? You know, you got the veterinarian hospital. Is that Bond Street?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that, there's some,
back there, there
there's
is.
back there.
there's
Yeah.
also wetlands back there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true.
And then a big hill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big hill.
yeah, and I think, you know, we could also use just my experience permitting a lot of this stuff and reviewing it, like what trends I've noticed to consider. So say, for example, dimensional setbacks or lot coverage or whatever. A lot of those properties in that district are very undersized. Most of them are less than a half acre on average. So if you want to make redevelopment possible, that's something to consider as well. Like, is your zoning gonna be prohibitive of potential redevelopment? I can tell you right now, a lot of businesses coming to the center are gonna look for existing spaces, because that's easier for them, that's cheaper. Or if developers coming in, they could do first floor commercial. But you remember, I don't know if you were present for the presentation from VHB showing the renderings, but they do mention that it's very common to see vacant storefronts in a lot of different communities throughout the state. He mentioned he lived in Cambridge and he sees vacant storefronts pretty often there even.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you want a bunch of vacant storefronts or do you not? Do you want a bunch of housing or do you not? What's a good middle ground? These are all very real things to take into consideration and just visualize yourselves what you would want to see in this downtown area.
I envision it mostly on the west side of Shaker Road, behind the playing fields, Maple Court, that whole area behind there. That's the way I look at it in my mind, which would be a great place to develop. When you go on to the east side, there's really nothing behind those buildings, other than a
So-
little bit of land and then Prospect Street.
So if you're driving towards the Rotary, that east, correct? Now, if you're coming away from the Rotary.
If you're going down south on Shaker Road, right-hand side.
Okay.
All that space, you got the detention basin or retention basin, wherever it is, Maple Court.
Yeah.
Then you got Steve's Place, and the land that goes up to Knollwood Drive and the walking trail. That's how I picture it.
Yeah.
Something that's more easily to develop than the other side of the road, which has building, and really nothing behind them. And then up the hills, it's Prospect Street.
Yep. And also there's talk of walkability, you know, in order to encourage walkability, in order to encourage parking lots that might go over property boundaries, so multiple buildings and owners can use parking. I mean, there's certain zoning implications you have to consider as well with that. And a lot of that type of development, usually there's flexibility in design. So flexibility in regards to, say, if you require this much parking, can you share with your neighbor, just to make the site look better? You want the building to always be a certain distance back from the street, so you can have like a little plaza or walking area. These are things we're gonna talk about, obviously, during this whole process. There's so many moving parts here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just introducing this to you guys now, so you can understand how complex this is gonna be for you.
Oh, it's,
When
yeah.
this whole thing came up, I thought, yeah, Maple Court's gonna get redeveloped, it'd be wonderful. Some shops go along like this with a little bit of owner-occupied housing, and that's the end of it, and then Steve's,
Yeah.
the railroad station
Yeah.
and all that.
How about closing off Maple Court, making it a pedestrian
No.
way?
I drive by every day, twice a day. Don't take that away from me.
It's not about you, you know.
It is.
That's a good relief valve for the Rotary.
I know.
It's definitely a good
Very
relief,
for that,
valve, yeah.
I know.
exactly.
I just want to say this before we end this segment, but there's, I've had 6 high school students reach out to me about, like a civics class, this project they're working on. 6 different students from the same class reached out to me asking for advice on what to do and stuff. And one student wanted to design the Rotary area where the part on Shaker Road where it meets the Rotary down to Maple Court, make that like a pedestrian-only walking way.
Oh, Lord.
And then circulate traffic all around Maple Court, make Maple Court like a bigger road.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, I was
I
like,
don't know about that.
in
Well,
a,
I give them kudos for the creativity.
yeah.
Haven't lived here as long as some of us,
Okay. Happy Acres.
yeah.
Alrighty, Happy Acres, thank you.
Do it.
Let me just screen share so I can give you a better slideshow perspective of what we've been seeing in Happy Acres. So just to give some background, this has been a constant issue even before we had the winter as of recent. So Happy Acres, as you know, is owned by one developer who has sold several lots to different developers. So there's at least 4 or 5 different developers who are building houses there that we know of. So the one thing the planning board's required to do under the subdivision rules and regulations is to make sure the roadway conditions and the stormwater are maintained at all times and in working order. There's evidence that a lot of stormwater drains have sediment that are just clogging up every which way on the road. The road condition is not in the greatest at the moment. There's been a lot of cheap patchwork that's already degrading the road even further. There's damage and evidence that curbing is just getting destroyed. We understand that there's a lot of heavy vehicles that come and go from these sites, but even in front of houses that looked like they were already almost done, the curbing is still pretty bad. And it doesn't seem like there's good coordination between these individual lot owners versus the subdivision owner overall. So I know we had discussed this at the last meeting to do a letter to them on behalf of the board saying that you have to correct these issues or else we're going to potentially reopen the subdivision hearing, which you have the right to do. You actually could open the hearing if you want to. It has to be appropriately advertised, obviously, as per the regulations under state law, but you can still do that. And I'm going to go through some of these pictures. You already have them in your packet, just so Ralph and Marilyn can see.
But if we were,
Audience.
but if we were to open
Yep.
or bring them back in, what are our, what does that, what authority do we have?
You could technically revoke it from them, and they can't sell any of the other lots there. I could confirm that with Jesse, but you do have some teeth here to get them to comply with this. And I'm definitely going to talk to Jesse tomorrow about what the planning board could legally do.
Okay,
But I know a good jumping off point would be to send them a letter and just say, hey, we noticed all these compliance issues. Here's evidence of this included in this letter. Please fix them by this date or else further actions can be taken. I'm going to talk to Jesse about what that could be. But this is the second time now. We told them through email the first time to fix all these issues, and they have not done that at all.
okay.
And there's also evidence that individual developers are also poking holes in their silt stacks for erosion control.
Just,
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
And it's draining water with sediment into the storm drains, causing damage.
Did they reach out to you after the email?
No, we haven't heard from them at all.
It's time.
have you heard of the owner,
It's time.
owner complaints?
We've had complaints to DPW from property owners about the status of the road, about, I think it started with sidewalks not being clear, which you technically can't enforce. But then that led to a further conversation about, oh, these storm drains are all clogged with rocks and silt. That's not good. And that kind of prompted this site visit that myself, well, I wasn't present because I was actually out sick during this, but Alex Conservation was there, Will Cahill, the soon-to-be departing building commissioner, and Felix from DPW was there as well. He's the water and sewer guy. We just kind of noticed, well, they noticed, and I looked at the photos afterwards, that it's just not in the greatest shape at all. The roadway looks pretty bad. And if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I'm actually going to go through a few of these.
Yeah.
Just to show for the record, as you can see here, there's significant damage to this curbing here. I know they're probably having large vehicles come and go, but maintenance is not in the greatest order.
Some of these pictures are just,
So do
Bad.
they have a certain period of time to have a completed project?
No, because they started doing any work, they're within compliance. We don't have a deadline to complete the whole thing either, at least in the conditions of the subdivision.
We certainly have not accepted the streets.
You have
in
not.
Such bad condition.
Yeah, they still have a performance guarantee for the site.
Yeah.
Like the covenant's been released, so they're starting to build left and right. They just have to extend the deadline for the performance bond, or else they can't really do much else building and
And
stuff.
how much is the performance bond?
I don't remember the exact amount, but it's sufficient.
Yeah.
DPW recommend the number and how much maintenance and construction was still needed, including the laying down of the top coat and probably recurbing and some sidewalk work. But even their catch bases on the property are overgrown. They're not in the best working condition, which is also under your purview, because you have to make sure the detention areas aren't overgrown so they can appropriately drain the water into the water table. So this is storm drain right here. You can see there's evidence of silt going into it, but there's another photo of one that looks way worse. This one right here. And it's just clear that like all of that is just gravel and debris, and there's even a wood block here. I'm assuming that didn't come from the tree itself. So it must have came from somewhere else, more man-made. But yeah, I think the conditions are appalling. I think myself and the folks who went on the site visit all agree that further action is definitely gonna be warranted here. So
So I think it's time.
I think you as the board, in order to do anything moving forward, you have to authorize, oh, look at this one too. They did a cold patch, it's called, of that damaged part of the road, and it's looking pretty bad. It's already crumbling. And that's problematic. So you as the board would have to authorize me to write another letter on your behalf that I would then send to them. I'm gonna do first-class certified mail to the owner of the subdivision, just so there's proof that it was delivered to somebody. I'm gonna copy in their attorney, Josh Levine, who I still know very well. And then the realtor, who I believe is Carpilla. Everybody's gonna be roped into this. There's gonna be evidence, documentation, just so nothing is left under the radar. There's no, oh, you didn't actually send it to us. Yes, we did. Here's the proof. And I think we should look at and address all these different issues, just so they can at least do something. And it's up to you how long you want to give them from date of receipt of the letter. If you want to do 30 days, your choice.
It's been going on,
Already
30
got
days.
one.
30 days? Okay.
It's been going on long enough.
So 30 days from the date that they receive it, I think is fair, because it does take time for them
Yes.
to get there. We'll have proof of that, because once we get the slip returned to us,
Yeah.
it's gonna show the date they received in the mail. So that's pretty much it, Mr. Chair. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me, or if
No.
you're pretty set on that.
Pretty cut and dry.
So the end responsibility will be on the owner.
Yes, the owner of the
So
subdivision.
the owner will have to have some sort of contact with the various builders that are there
Yep,
and put some sort of pressure on them to adhere to keeping the property clean, neat,
Well, fix
not
it,
breaking curbs,
fix it. So-
not letting
Yep.
debris be in the street or washed away from their property.
the road is their
Better-
property.
What's that?
The road is their
I
property.
know,
Yeah,
yeah, but what I'm saying is the contractors have to abide by certain rules.
Yeah.
And maybe there's not enough silt fences, whatever. You know, if they got water in there and they can't work, well, then they can't work, but they can't, take the silt fence down and
Yeah.
let the stuff go in the storm drain.
or poke
Have they-
holes into it.
Yeah,
And they've actually cut the material in the storm drain?
That's what the building commissioner says, and he says that he's gonna reach out to those properties individually and say, fix your stormwater mitigation, your erosion controls, fix all that stuff. And I think Felix is also gonna reach out to each of them about clogging up the storm drain. And Alex from Conservation even said some of the stuff is draining into the resource areas for wetlands. And then their detention basins falls under Concom as well. So he's gonna have the commission reach out to them too. So there's like 4 different areas where these guys are gonna get notice from the town. I think the
Then
planning board,
one contractor's gonna go, it's him, not me.
of course.
probably,
But you know what?
but we also went there before any of the stuff's being sent out anyways. So whoever is the perpetrator, it's gonna be pretty obvious who it is, because there's holes in their silt bags and
Yeah.
there's a trail of mud coming from their property. So I think the whole thing is just kind of to speak freely and bluntly, a chaotic mess at the moment with everything that's going on there. So, yep. And you guys do have to take a formal vote to authorize me to draft that letter on your behalf.
Motion,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, director's report, upcoming meetings. I will not be here on May 19th.
It's good to know. So I had to actually leave this whole list and find your dates because we haven't met in a while.
4 months, 3 months.
I think it's like, since January 20th.
But there's no meeting on June 2nd, is that correct?
That's the election.
That's correct. Thank you for the reminder. So that's election day, at least for town elections.
Town election.
Great.
And, wow, Russell, you get another 2 weeks off
Yep,
in the summertime.
yep.
Just want to give you guys a heads up. There is an upcoming hearing. The advertisement hasn't gone out yet because it's going to go out on Friday. But there's going to be a special permit hearing on May 5th for 55 White Avenue, the former, I believe, Stacy's Cleaners. There's going to be a proposed restaurant cafe type use going in there.
Really?
Good luck.
Yeah, no kidding.
They actually, per the number of tables they have and the parking lot count, they actually made the zoning work in that regard. It's gonna be a smaller place.
It'd be small.
They're anticipating a lot of walking traffic. I
What kind of restaurant?
think it's like a takeout sandwich shop or something like that.
Another one?
Yeah,
Hot table?
No, it's, yeah.
Oh,
hot table, there you go. So,
It's not hot table, it's like hot table.
yeah, panini type thing.
it's not like, it's like an In-N-Out type place.
Okay.
So
Alright.
it works for the zoning.
But that's contaminated still, right?
I'm not sure.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
They were
Because
working on it.
there's a well right there.
Yeah,
You know,
no
that's
kidding.
when you go in the parking lot on the left.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we can look up the status of any environmental impact assessments online, but I'm not sure of any at the moment. So I could ask the owner when they come before the board. But yeah, that's coming up on the 5th of May. Just a few last minute updates on some projects that have been going on. So the comprehensive zoning study, we're expecting our final deliverables from our consultant, Barron's Planning Group, by the end of the week. We're hoping to get it onto the town council's next meeting agenda if possible for their review. But right now, we're still trying to figure out those final details with them. We were awarded $25,000 from the Massachusetts Department of Conservation Services to update our open space and recreation plan, which expires October of this year. The reason why that's important is because we have to have this plan active in order to be eligible for park grant funds, which helps with a lot of different conservation, recreation types of projects, including a lot of projects that Donna's trying to do in the rec department. So it's very important that we have this plan active and going. We're gonna work with Pioneer Valley on doing this update because they did our first one for us. And the open space plan update is not as long of a process as doing the plan from scratch.
I was involved in a plan from scratch, and that was 2 years of my life that I'll never get back. Oh, that was painful.
So we're thinking, I'm gonna be working pretty closely with them on this. We're gonna be working with Mimi Kaplan from Pioneer Valley.
And to Donna's point, a lot of the stuff she's tried has come before community preservation.
Yep.
Just doesn't fit.
Yeah, I mean, and
And, you know, they've tightened the criteria substantially in the past couple of years.
they have, and I believe overhead power lines now disqualifies you from getting funding.
Does.
It's problematic, but I
is.
understand where they're coming from.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna do another probably 2 or 3 committee meetings. It's the type of meeting where initially you ask what's gonna happen, like what are your goals, fears and worries. Here's a draft, and then here's the final product. There might be an additional meeting, but we have to discuss that with Pioneer Valley before we sign a contract with them.
Not gonna be as extensive, but, you know.
Yeah.
This one won't be that
No,
much.
it won't be as bad. And, 25,000 was sufficient for them. It is a reimbursement grant, which means that we have to request funds as we get invoiced. And we're also proposing I think it was like a 10% in-kind match of staff time. So it'll be hours that I spend and my staff spends on doing work for this. And then money that we put up for different public outreach events. We had to document all that stuff. But they gave us money, and we can't say no to money for these types of projects. Then lastly, we actually just talked about it, mixed use bylaw discussion. You all pretty much know what's happening with that. April 21st is the first meeting where we're gonna talk more about it. I'm gonna have a draft formatted for you, and I'm gonna send everything on this topic to you a week beforehand.
Good.
Including a list of topics to discuss. That's pretty much all I had. Thank you.
I won't be here August 4th either,
August,
be in Alaska.
August 4th.
you said August 4th, Pete? Okay, I'll write that down.
All right, no other business or a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.